It was just another ordinary day when Justin Moore found himself standing in the middle of a world frozen in time. The streets were silent, the wind had stopped, and the people around him were nothing more than lifeless statues, caught in a single moment. But what chilled him to his core wasn't the eerie stillness. It was the girl standing across the street, laughing. Her laughter echoed through the frozen world, and as it did, Justin realized something terrifying. He was the only one who could still move. Little did he know, this strange, alien girl wasn't just an anomaly. She was the key to a power he couldn't yet understand, and a battle that would change everything he thought he knew about time, fear, and his own identity. Before we start, please subscribe the channel by clicking car button on top right corner and hit the notification bell, so you can get amazing daily stories as and when published. Please do comment your views about the story or any topic that you want to get a story on. We will make it happen. Let's dive in the story. It was an ordinary afternoon, the kind of day you don't think much about until something out of the ordinary happens. Justin Moore, 32, was walking home from work, his briefcase in hand, when he saw her. She was sitting on the curb, alone, under a towering oak tree. At first, Justin thought nothing of it. People sat on curbs all the time, especially on quiet afternoons like this. But there was something off about her. Her hair was a striking red, almost too red to be real, like a flame caught in the sunlight. Her skin was as pale as porcelain, and her eyes? They were a ghostly blue, like ice on a cold winter day. Justin didn't recognize her, and he should have. He had lived in this town his whole life. The girl was an outsider. That was for sure. He paused for a moment, wondering if he should approach her. But something told him to be cautious. Something in the air had changed, and Justin didn't trust it. She caught his eye. Her gaze locked with his, and it was instant. A shiver ran down his spine. Justin froze, standing still on the sidewalk, as if something invisible had anchored him in place. She smiled, a soft, eerie smile that sent a jolt of unease through his chest. "Hi," she said, her voice calm, almost musical, like a lullaby from another world. Justin wasn't sure how to respond. He didn't know who she was or what she was doing here. But there was a strange, undeniable pull in the air, like he couldn't move, couldn't think without her allowing it. Hi," he managed, his voice unsure. "You new around here?" The girl nodded, her smile widening. "Yes, I'm just passing through." Just passing through? That didn't sound right. There was something too controlled about her. Too perfect. Justin's curiosity grew stronger. But before he could think of anything else to say, she did something that made his blood run cold. She laughed. At first, it was a soft giggle, a small, innocent sound that felt out of place. But then it grew like it had a life of its own. The sound was sweet, almost hypnotic, but beneath that sweetness was something darker, something chilling. It felt as if her laugh wasn't just a noise, but a force, something that could reach deep into his bones. And then the world stopped. Justin blinked, his mind racing. He thought he'd imagined it, but when he looked around, everything had changed. The cars, the people, the dogs running in the park, everything was frozen in time. The world had come to a halt. He looked down at his own feet. He was still moving, still walking, still breathing. But the world around him was completely still, like it had been paused mid-motion. He looked at the girl again, her smile never fading, her eyes twinkling with something unsettling. "What's happening?" Justin whispered, his voice trembling. He took a step forward, his heart pounding in his chest. "Why can I still move?" She didn't answer right away. Instead, she leaned forward and tilted her head, as if studying him with a kind of curiosity. "You're special," she said, her voice almost a purr. "You're the only one who can move. The others, well, they're frozen, stuck in time." Justin's stomach churned. He stepped back, trying to make sense of it all. "Why? Why me?" The girl's laughter rang out again, echoing through the silent world, and the cold air around them seemed to tighten. "Because you're the only one who can see me, Justin. The only one who can hear me." His confusion deepened, but she continued, her voice low, almost a whisper. "You're unaffected because you're different, and we both know it. Who are you?" Justin asked, his words barely escaping his mouth. Fear gripped him as he stared at her. She leaned closer, her gaze piercing into him, and her smile grew wider. I'm Lyra, she said softly, and I've been waiting for you. Justin's pulse raced as he stepped back once more, every fiber of his being screaming to run. But something inside him told him that running wouldn't help. He wasn't sure how, but deep down, he knew this was just the beginning of something far bigger than he could ever understand. The world had stopped, time had frozen, and he was caught right in the middle of it. Justin couldn't tear his eyes away from Lyra. The world around him was still frozen, cars stuck in mid-motion, people suspended in awkward poses, the wind halted as if it had been paused on a whim. But he was moving, breathing, his heart hammering in his chest as the girl in front of him studied him with that eerie, too-perfect smile. Why are you doing this? He asked, his voice shaking. Lyra tilted her head, that strange, cold smile still dancing on her lips. Doing what? Freezing time? Oh, I didn't do that. Time froze because I laughed. It's not my fault. It's just how it works. Justin couldn't make sense of it. So, you're telling me you can just laugh and freeze the world? His mind struggled to comprehend. How is that even possible? Everything is possible, she replied, her tone casual, as if she were explaining something simple. The world is full of things you don't understand yet, Justin. Things that go beyond what you know, beyond what you can control. You mean like you? Justin asked, trying to grasp the reality of the situation. Lyra's smile deepened. Exactly. Like me. You see, I'm not from here. I'm just passing through. I came to find you. Justin frowned. Find me? Why me? I'm just some guy walking home from work. She stepped closer, her icy blue eyes fixed on his. No, Justin. You're not just some guy. There's more to you. Something special. You're the only one who can move while time is frozen. The only one who's immune to my laughter. Immunity? Justin's mind reeled. But why would I be immune? How can I be different? Lyra shrugged, her expression unreadable. I don't have all the answers, Justin. I only know that you're the key to something much bigger. And that's why I've been waiting. Waiting for what? Justin's chest tightened. He wasn't sure he wanted to know, but he had to ask. Her eyes sparkled with something dark, something unsettling. For you to realize your potential. For you to understand what you really are. Justin shook his head, his thoughts spinning in circles. This is insane. How am I supposed to know what I am? I'm just me, a guy who works at a tech firm, lives alone, drinks too much coffee, and just tries to get through the day. Nothing about me is special. Lyra's expression softened for the first time. You think you're just ordinary, but you're not. The people around you, they're not what they seem. None of this is. What do you mean? Justin asked, suddenly feeling a cold sweat trickling down his spine. The people around me? They're frozen. Just like time. She nodded, her gaze growing more intense. Yes, and you're not. You're different. It's why I need you, Justin. You're the only one who can stop what's coming. His stomach churned. Stop what? She didn't answer immediately. Instead, she turned her gaze toward the frozen world around them. I'm not just here to freeze time, Justin. I'm here because something worse is coming. Something that could tear everything apart. A chill ran through him, colder than the air around them. What could be worse than this? He whispered. Lyra's voice dropped to a near whisper. An entity, a being from another world. It feeds on chaos, on fear, and it's coming. The only way to stop it is for you to understand what you're capable of, what you really are. Justin's head spun. I don't understand. What do you mean, what I am? He could feel his heart racing faster now, like it was trying to escape his chest. I'm just me. I don't know how to stop an alien, or whatever you're talking about. Lyra took a step back, her eyes scanning him carefully. You'll learn, Justin. You have to, because the moment you understand your power, the moment you realize why you're immune, everything changes. And you'll have to fight. For the world. For yourself. The weight of her words hung in the air like a thick fog. Justin wanted to say something, but the words wouldn't come. His mind was spinning, and everything felt so overwhelming. There was a darkness on the horizon, something he didn't understand yet, but he could feel its presence lurking. How do I start? He finally asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Lyra's gaze softened, and for a moment she almost looked kind. "We begin now. But first, you need to trust me. Time has stopped, but you haven't. And that's the first step." As she spoke, Justin realized that no matter how hard he tried to fight it, he was already in the middle of something far bigger than he could comprehend. And the worst part? He had no idea what was coming next. The next few days felt like a blur to Justin. The world was still frozen, the people locked in time, while he walked among them, alone. He found himself trapped in this strange, half-reality, unable to do anything but wait for answers. Lyra, however, was never far from him. Every time he turned a corner, she was there, always watching him, waiting. Her presence was unsettling. Even though she didn't speak often, just knowing she was near made Justin feel like he was walking through a nightmare. He would go to the grocery store, and she would be there, standing between the aisles, her pale eyes watching him. He'd go to a coffee shop, and she would be sitting in a corner booth, her expression unreadable. One afternoon, he sat in his living room, staring at the TV screen. The news anchors frozen in mid-sentence, their mouths open, but no sound coming out. The air was thick with silence. He picked up the remote and clicked the power button, but nothing changed. The world, it seemed, was completely still. Lyra appeared at his door then, knocking softly. Justin wasn't sure why, but he didn't even flinch when she entered. There was something about her that made the world feel less real, as if her presence bent the laws of nature. "Have you thought about what I said?" she asked, her voice soft, but there was an edge to it that made Justin's stomach tighten. He glanced up at her, his hands trembling. "I've been thinking about nothing but what you said." "What are you talking about? What is this power you keep talking about?" "I don't feel special. I'm just a guy who's stuck in the middle of a frozen world with no clue what's going on." Lyra leaned against the wall, studying him with that same detached, calm expression. "That's the problem, Justin. You don't see it yet, but you have the ability to move while time is frozen. You're immune to my laughter. That's not something that happens by accident. That means you're different. You've always been different. But why me?" Justin asked, frustration seeping into his voice. "Why can't you just do this yourself? Why do I have to be involved? I don't want this. I don't want to be part of whatever this is." Lyra's eyes softened for the briefest of moments. "You don't get it, do you? You're a part of this, whether you like it or not. You were chosen, Justin. And this isn't something you can escape. It's in you. Deep inside, it's always been inside of you. You just haven't realized it." Justin stood up, his mind racing. "You can't be serious. I'm just a regular guy. You've got to be mistaken." Lyra's gaze never wavered. "No, I'm not mistaken. You've always been special, Justin. And you're the only one who can stop what's coming. The entity, the force from another world, it's coming for you. And if you don't understand your power, it will destroy everything. Time itself could unravel, and no one will be able to save it. No one except you." Her words hit him like a punch in the gut. His heart pounded in his chest, and his hands clenched into fists. "So what? I'm supposed to just accept this? That I'm some kind of chosen one? How do you expect me to believe any of this?" Lyra's eyes glinted with an unspoken emotion. "You don't have to believe it. You just have to act on it. Trust in what you can do. You're capable of more than you realize, Justin. But if you keep denying it, if you keep pretending you're not part of this, the entity will find you. It will find your weakness and exploit it." The weight of her words settled over him, suffocating him. A part of him wanted to scream, to run, to forget all of this and live a normal life. But the other part of him, the part that had been feeling this strange pull ever since he met her, knew it was too late for that. "Then what am I supposed to do?" Justin asked, his voice low and defeated. Lyra stepped closer, her expression serious. "I'll help you unlock your power, Justin. I'll teach you how to control it. But you have to trust me, and you have to be ready. The entity is getting closer." He could feel his pulse pounding in his throat. "Ready for what?" "For the fight of your life," she replied, her voice steady, but there was an edge of urgency there now. "For the battle that could determine the future of this world." Justin stared at her, his mind struggling to comprehend everything she was telling him. He didn't know what to believe anymore, but one thing was clear. The life he knew was gone, and something far bigger was waiting for him. Whether he liked it or not, his world had changed, and there was no going back. He looked into Lyra's eyes, the weight of the decision hanging in the air. "What do I have to do?" Lyra smiled, the faintest trace of warmth flickering in her gaze. "The first step is simple, Justin. You need to learn how to control time." And with that, the reality he had known slipped even further away. The days that followed were a blur of confusion and disbelief for Justin. Lyra had shown him how to manipulate the frozen world around him, how to bend time in small, subtle ways, but nothing had prepared him for the intensity of what he was about to face. Every step he took felt heavier, as if the weight of the universe itself was pressing down on his shoulders. The force inside him was growing, but with it came an overwhelming fear that he was running out of time. One evening, as the sun began to dip below the horizon, casting long shadows across his living room, Lyra appeared once again. She didn't knock, didn't announce herself. She was just there, standing in the doorway, her gaze piercing. Justin was seated on his couch, staring at the frozen world outside his window, trying to make sense of it all. But the more he thought, the less he understood. "I've been practicing," Justin said, his voice strained. "I can move things around, shift small objects, make the world bend for a moment. But it feels wrong. It feels like I'm not in control." Lyra stepped into the room, her expression unreadable. "You're not in control yet, Justin. You're still learning. But you're close. The more you fight against it, the harder it will be to master. You have to stop questioning what you can do and just trust yourself." "I don't even know who I am anymore." Justin's voice cracked, the frustration bubbling up inside him. "I'm not a hero. I'm just a guy who stumbled into something he can't escape." Lyra's eyes softened for a moment, her usual coldness replaced with something warmer. "You're more than you realize, Justin. You've always been more. This is why the entity is coming for you. It senses that you're different, that you can control time in ways no one else can." Justin ran his hands through his hair, pacing now. "But what does it want with me? Why not just kill me and be done with it?" "The entity isn't just a mindless killer," Lyra said, her voice steady but filled with a quiet urgency. "It feeds on fear, on chaos. It thrives on the struggle. It wants to break you, push you to your limits. And when it does, it will use that fear to control everything. It's coming for you because it senses your power, Justin. And when it gets here, it will destroy everything you know." Justin's chest tightened at her words. He hadn't fully understood what Lyra had meant by the entity, but now the pieces were falling into place. This wasn't just some strange force or alien presence. It was a predator, and he was its prey. "What do I do?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. He had no idea what he was supposed to do, but he knew he couldn't keep running from it. "You have to learn to fight back," Lyra said, her gaze hardening. "You have to stop thinking of this as something you can control and start thinking of it as something you must control. If you don't, the entity will take everything." Justin nodded, the gravity of the situation weighing down on him. He didn't want to fight. He didn't want to be the one to save the world. But Lyra was right. He had no choice. He was already in this fight, and whether he was ready or not, he had to find a way to win. "Okay," he said, his voice low but determined. "I'll do whatever it takes." Lyra's expression softened, and she stepped closer, her eyes locked onto his. "It's not going to be easy, but you're stronger than you think. You've always been stronger than you know." The words hung in the air between them, and for the first time, Justin didn't feel entirely alone in this. The path ahead was uncertain, and the fear of what was to come gripped him, but something inside him was shifting. He could feel it, the power, the control. It was within him, waiting to be unleashed. "We start tomorrow," Lyra said, breaking the silence. "The entity is closer now, and you need to be ready." Justin didn't say anything, but he nodded in agreement. He knew the battle was coming, and this time, he wasn't going to run from it. The next few days were nothing like anything Justin had ever experienced. Time was no longer the constant he once knew. The frozen world, the stillness, had become his reality. And with each passing hour, he could feel the power inside him growing. It was like a storm just below the surface, a force he could neither ignore nor completely control. Lyra had been pushing him harder than ever. Each day, She taught him more, how to manipulate the world around him, how to twist time to his will. At first, it felt like he was just going through the motions, but the more he practiced, the more he realized something terrifying. He was beginning to understand. He could feel the subtle pull of time, like threads he could tug on. But with each small victory came a new layer of fear. On the 5th day, Lyra took him to the edge of town, to a place Justin had never been before. The buildings here were old, abandoned, as if time itself had forgotten them. The air was thick with the weight of the past, and Justin couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. Lyra stood in front of him, her expression hard, unreadable. "This is where we train, Justin. Here, you'll face your fear head-on. Face my fear," Justin repeated, confusion washing over him. "What are we doing here? This place feels wrong." "You'll see soon enough," she said, her voice distant. "Your power isn't just about controlling time. It's about facing what's inside you. The entity will feed on your fear. The more you fear it, the stronger it becomes. You need to learn how to fight that fear, how to control it." Justin took a step back, his throat tight. "And how am I supposed to do that?" Lyra's eyes flashed with something dark. "You'll face it. The entity is already close. You need to know how to stand your ground when it comes for you." Before Justin could respond, the ground beneath him trembled. The air shifted, the temperature dropping suddenly, and Justin's breath formed a mist in the cold air. He spun around, his heart racing, as a figure appeared before them, tall, shadowed, its form shifting and flickering like smoke. It was the entity. It had come. Justin's pulse quickened. He could feel the power within him, the ability to stop time, but in the presence of the entity, it felt insignificant. The fear flooded him, and for a brief moment, he thought he might collapse under its weight. Lyra stepped forward, her voice steady. "Focus, Justin. Don't let it control you. You control it." The entity let out a low, rumbling laugh, its voice like the crackling of fire. "You think you can stop me? You're nothing but a child playing with powers you don't understand." Justin's legs shook, but he forced himself to stay upright. He could feel the fear crawling up his spine, but he pushed it down, remembering Lyra's words. "I won't let you destroy everything," he said, his voice stronger than he felt. The entity hissed, its form rippling like a wave of darkness. "You're weak. You have no idea what you're up against. Fear is my weapon, and it will be the end of you." Lyra's eyes never left Justin. "You've already taken the first step. Now take control." Justin clenched his fists, his breath shallow as he focused on the power inside him. He could feel it growing stronger. His fear was still there, but he was no longer afraid of it. Slowly, he reached out with his mind, pulling on the threads of time. It was like pulling a taut wire, feeling it resist, but still giving way under his touch. Time shifted around him, slowing, bending. The entity let out a growl, its form flickering as Justin's power pushed against it. "You think this is enough?" It spat, its voice twisted with anger. "You can't stop me. You're nothing." But Justin didn't falter. The more the entity raged, the more he focused. Time around him began to distort, the world blurring at the edges as his control over it grew stronger. He wasn't just pushing back against the entity anymore. He was pulling time itself, using it as a shield, as a weapon. For the first time, Justin understood the true extent of his power. He wasn't just fighting the entity. He was fighting his own fear, his own doubts. And with each passing second, he felt stronger. The entity shrieked, its form faltering as Justin's power clamped down on it. "You don't control me," the entity screeched, but Justin wasn't listening anymore. He had taken control. He was no longer the helpless man caught in the middle of an alien battle. He was the one with the power now. The entity's form began to dissipate, shrinking back, vanishing into the cold air. For a moment, everything was silent. Justin stood there, his chest heaving, the world still around him, frozen in time. Lyra stepped forward, her gaze intense. "You did it, Justin. You faced it, and you won." Justin didn't feel like he had won. He felt empty, but he knew this was only the beginning. The entity was gone, for now, but there would be more, and he would have to be ready. The day after Justin's confrontation with the entity, everything felt different. The world was still frozen, but it no longer felt as suffocating. He had faced the thing that had haunted him for so long, and for the first time, he felt like he had gained some control. Yet, deep down, he knew the entity wasn't gone for good. It was just waiting, lurking, patient. And as much as Justin wanted to feel relief, he couldn't shake the sense that the real battle was only just beginning. Lyra had been quiet since the incident, watching him closely, as though she were waiting for him to speak first. But Justin didn't know what to say. There were too many questions, too many things he didn't understand. He had faced the entity, but did that mean he had won? Or had he just bought himself some time? "You're different now," Lyra said one morning, breaking the silence as they stood in the middle of a park, surrounded by frozen people and animals, all locked in time. "I can see it. Your power has grown stronger." Justin glanced at her, still processing what had happened. "I don't feel different. I'm just, I don't know, scared. What if I can't do this? What if I can't stop it when it comes back?" Lyra's gaze softened, and for a moment, she almost looked human. "You've already taken the hardest step. You faced your fear. That's more than most can ever do. You have what it takes, Justin. You just need to believe it." He shook his head, the weight of her words pressing down on him. "You don't get it. What if I fail? What if the entity comes back, stronger than before, and I can't stop it? I don't even understand all this power inside me. I don't know how to control it." Lyra studied him for a long moment, her expression unreadable. Then, without a word, she reached out and placed a hand on his shoulder. Her touch was cold, but there was a strange comfort in it. "You won't fail, Justin. I believe in you." The words hit him harder than he expected. The idea that someone, even an alien like Lyra, believed in him made him feel like there might be hope after all. But the fear lingered, gnawing at him, twisting his gut. The entity had been a taste of the chaos to come. He could feel it deep down. It was far from over. "We need to prepare," Lyra said, her tone shifting to something more serious. "The entity is still out there. It won't stop, not until it has what it wants. And I'm not sure how much longer we have before it comes back." Justin's heart raced. "What do you mean? What's it after?" Lyra's eyes grew distant, as though she were looking into something far beyond the frozen world around them. "The entity feeds on fear and chaos, but it also seeks to control. It's trying to bend reality, to twist the fabric of time itself. That's what you're up against, Justin. And the only way to stop it is by mastering your power. You have to be able to control time completely. The power inside you is the only thing that can stand against it." Justin took a deep breath, trying to steady himself. The idea of controlling time, of bending reality to his will, seemed impossible. But he had done it before. He had stopped time, even if only for a moment. Maybe, just maybe, he could learn to control it fully. "I'll do whatever it takes," Justin said, determination seeping into his voice. "I can't let it win." Lyra nodded, a faint smile crossing her lips. "That's the spirit. But remember, Justin, you're not alone in this. You have the power to stop the entity, but you also have the strength to survive it. That's what makes you different." He didn't know if he believed her completely. But in that moment, with the weight of the world resting on his shoulders, he knew one thing. He wasn't going to give up. The entity had come for him once. It would come again, and this time he would be ready. The wind picked up, rustling the frozen leaves in the trees, and for a brief moment, it felt like everything was alive again. But Justin knew better. This was just the calm before the storm. And as he turned to face Lyra, he made a promise to himself. No matter what it took, he would stop the entity. He would stop time from unraveling. The battle was far from over, but Justin was no longer the man who was running from his fear. He was the one who would fight, and he was ready for whatever came next. The days blurred together, and each moment felt like a countdown. Justin had been preparing, training, mastering the power inside him. Time had become his weapon, his shield, but every time he thought he had control, the fear would creep back in. The entity was still out there, lurking, growing stronger with each passing day. Justin could feel it like a shadow always at his back, watching, waiting for the right moment to strike. Lyra had been quiet in the past few days, her presence more distant. She'd pushed him to his limits, but now, As the day of reckoning approached, she seemed to be waiting for something, waiting for him to understand the final piece of the puzzle. Justin didn't know what it was, but he could sense it, the tension in the air, the pull of something he couldn't see but felt deep in his bones. On the evening of the 7th day, Lyra appeared again, her eyes somber, her face unreadable. "It's time," she said, her voice low, almost like a warning. Justin's heart skipped a beat. Time for what? The entity will be here soon. It's drawing closer, feeding off the fear and chaos that you've been holding back. You need to face it, Justin. You need to understand what you really are. "I already told you," Justin said, his voice shaky. "I don't know what I am. How am I supposed to fight something like that?" Lyra stepped forward, her expression softening. "You've been fighting it all along. The fear, the doubt, the uncertainty. That's what the entity thrives on. But you've already faced it, Justin. You've stood up to it, even when you didn't know what you were up against. You've already won part of the battle." Justin felt his breath catch in his throat. "Won? I haven't won anything. I'm just trying to survive. I don't even know what this fight is about." "You're not just surviving anymore," Lyra said, her voice firm. "You've been changing. You've been growing stronger, more in control. The power inside you is yours. It always has been." Justin shook his head, disbelief etched on his face. "But I don't feel strong. I feel like I'm just stumbling through this. I don't know how to control time. I don't know how to control what's coming." Lyra reached out, placing a hand on his shoulder. Her touch was cold, but somehow grounding. "That's the key, Justin. You've been thinking that you need to control everything, the entity, your fear, your power. But that's not how it works. It's not about control. It's about acceptance." Justin frowned. "Acceptance? What does that even mean?" "It means you stop fighting it," Lyra said, her voice steady, almost gentle. "You stop pretending that you have all the answers. You stop hiding from what's inside you, and you embrace it. The power, the fear, the uncertainty, all of it. Once you accept it, once you understand that this is who you are, you'll be ready to face the entity." For a moment, Justin stood still, his mind racing. Acceptance. It sounded so simple, but it felt so impossible. How could he accept something so dangerous, so unpredictable? But deep down, something inside him clicked. Maybe he'd been running from it all along. The power, the fear, the responsibility. Maybe the only way to win was to stop fighting it and start being it. "I don't know if I can do this," Justin whispered, his voice raw. "You can," Lyra said softly. "You've already done more than most. Now it's time to finish it." A strange calm washed over him as the realization hit him like a wave. He didn't have to control everything. He just had to be what he was meant to be. The power was inside him, always had been. All he needed to do was let go. The ground beneath them trembled, and the air grew thick with tension. The entity was close. Justin could feel it, a force so powerful it made the world seem small, insignificant. But this time he wasn't afraid. He was ready. Lyra stepped back, her eyes locking onto his. "Remember, Justin, it's not about stopping it. It's about becoming the one thing it can't control." Before he could respond, the air around them distorted, and the entity appeared. It was darker now, more terrifying than before, a swirling mass of shadow and flame. Its eyes glowed with an unnatural light as it moved toward them, its voice a deep, guttural growl. "You think you can stop me?" it hissed. "You are nothing but a child pretending to be a hero." Justin took a deep breath, feeling the power surge within him. "I'm not pretending," he said, his voice steady, unwavering. "I'm not afraid of you anymore." And with that, he reached out not to fight, but to become. Time bent, twisted, stretched around him as he tapped into the deepest part of himself, the part that had always been there, waiting. The entity screeched in fury as Justin's power collided with it, but this time, it couldn't stop him. He was the force now. He was time. The world around him shook, and the entity's form began to flicker, breaking apart as Justin focused all his energy into the one thing that had always been the key: acceptance. He was no longer fighting. He was the answer. The entity's scream echoed through the frozen world as it disintegrated, vanishing into nothingness. And just like that, the battle was over. For a moment, Justin stood alone in the stillness, the frozen world around him slowly beginning to thaw. Time was moving again, but this time, Justin wasn't just a passive observer. He was the one who controlled it. And for the first time, he truly understood what Lyra had meant. He wasn't just a survivor anymore. He was the one who had saved the world. Here is the story ends. If you enjoyed and want to watch more thrilling sci-fi adventures, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Dive into epic battles, explore distant galaxies, and join brave heroes as they fight for survival against impossible odds. Let us know in comments if you want next chapters to publish soon. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and become part of the journey. Together, we'll keep the last light burning. Subscribe now and let the adventure continue.